and welcome to the DIY Photo Organising podcast, focusing on topics to help you with your photo management. I'm Fiona from Photo Helper.
And I'm Chantal from Photos in Order. Hello there.
Hello, how are you?
I'm good, how are you?
Very good. Good.
Today, we are very thrilled to chat again with one of our guests that we had on the podcast previously, Lauren Sandford from the Eternal Second Photography. Hi, Lauren.
Hi, how are you?
Good.
Good. Welcome, Lauren.
Good
Thanks,
to have you on
Fiona.
Lovely to
again.
have you.
We have invited Lauren to talk with us today to give us her insight and professional advice when and why you might hire a professional photographer. It's all about photography on our podcast, obviously, and usually we are the photographers. We take too many photos, but
Yes.
sometimes, we might wonder, maybe, we should have professional photos taken. So we want to talk about that with Lauren today, but before we jump in, please, Lauren, share a bit about your journey, how you became a professional photographer, and what you do.
Yeah, sure. Thank you. So my journey started probably about 10 years ago. So in my photography journey, I had an art background myself and did a lot of drawing and painting of portraits and lots of flowers and pretty things like that. But when I always had an interest in photography, and just, as life happens, the opportunity didn't quite come up. But when I had my first baby, I definitely knew I wanted to get into photography. So I have it's a bit of a funny birth story, but my husband and I, we had a bit of a pact, and I said to him, so if I don't have an epidural, can I get a DSLR camera, because we wouldn't have to pay for the anaesthetist. So it was more a challenge that I put upon myself. It was my idea, and he's like, yeah, go for it. So after I think it was about 45 minutes after I gave birth, I was a little bit still wary, and I just was like, I'm getting a camera. Honest to God, that's what I said. Yeah, so that's my funny start to becoming a photographer in the birthing suite. So
that's funny.
And it was probably about, I did some research into what camera I wanted to buy, and so I purchased my first camera, and I still remember to this day, I had a little calla lily popping out of the garden through the neighbour's fence, and I remember that click, that, oh my gosh, and I just had, it was just one of those moments of, yes, this is what I want. So
That's awesome.
Yeah.
A camera for an epidural.
I know.
Oh dear.
You'd obviously given that a bit of thought.
Yes.
Oh, I did. I was deadly serious. Yeah.
You researched cameras rather than boosting whatever.
Yeah, right.
Wow.
Oh, that's fantastic. So can you tell us a little bit about your journey from there into becoming a professional photographer?
Yeah, definitely. So I think the first 2 years after I bought my camera, like I said, I had my first child, and a lot of it was just practice at home. Then we had our second baby, and it was after she was born that I felt like I really want to make this my future. So then I did an online course through the Photography Institute, and we had actually moved for my husband's work, so we were down in South Gippsland. So it was, I had 2 young babies at home, so to do an online course for me was perfect. So it was great. I was in direct contact with a tutor, and you literally had to submit your work, and it got, critiqued and sent back. So I found that having still that one-on-one with a teacher giving me feedback was really valuable. So I did my course, And then from there, it was really trying to visualize which way do I want to head down. Do I want to do weddings, or do I want to do real estate, which was a thought that I did have, or do I want to do, families and children, all that sort of thing. And I hadn't even really thought about newborn photography. Wasn't really something that was sort of popular back then. So I just started taking photographs of friends. I would just say, hey, I'm doing my course. Do you mind if I can just take some photos of you and hubby and the kids? And I just practiced as much as I could. So, yeah.
So that's interesting because, if people are listening and they've got an idea maybe that, they'd like to get into the area of being a professional photographer, there are so many avenues you could go down, I'm sure.
Definitely.
That's your experience too. So it sounds like, so what would your advice be to someone if they're listening and they're thinking about,
sure,
looking at getting into this area?
I think over the last 10 years, the way that, learning has evolved a lot with online courses and workshops and things like that. That's just become so popular. So even I would suggest there is your typical TAFE and uni type courses, but I don't think it's absolutely necessary that you have to go and get a university diploma or anything like that. There's so many well recognized online courses that you can do. So and particularly if you knew you wanted to go down the newborn path, then there's some amazing educators that do all these online courses. Or if you wanted to do portraiture, you can go down that path and seek out those types of courses. So it's really quite specific, and the information that's out there is amazing. Like anything, everything's going online. So I know I just just at my kids' school, I met a mum that we've just changed schools, and she was saying how she just bought herself a camera. She would like to do a course, and it's good for me to be able to pass on, go and look here and here. So
fantastic.
Yeah,
there's a lot out there. There's so many different areas just to specialise in, obviously in photography. So one of the things that we thought would be great to be able to chat with you about too today is just this difference between having the candid photo shots that people take with their selfies, and they do that with their phones and different things like that, and then also your traditional type of a professional photo shoot. And we sort of get your opinion and just some sort of awareness around just sort of the trend of the change in expectations of a professional photo shoot, and maybe when people might consider actually engaging in a professional photographer.
Yeah, sure. Probably around those real key moments in life that you don't want to look back and go, oh, I wish we did this. So definitely it's your excuse me, your wedding, or if you get engaged, or the arrival of your first baby, or you're finally pregnant after trying for quite a few years. Like, it's really about those real key moments in your life that you just don't want to miss. And that's when I would say to people, this is when it's worth hiring a professional photographer. And when you see the final result of those photographs, you'll never regret, booking it and paying for the service. There's always going to be the elements of a cheaper photographer versus one that's, I wouldn't say expensive, but one that's charges more. So it's all that value is sort of in the eye of the beholder. So, I would just definitely say in those moments where you know you don't want to look back and regret it, that you missed it, that's when I would say, you know, seek out a professional photographer.
Yeah.
That
And
makes sense.
what should people consider, you know, sort of looking at when they are making those decisions?
Most definitely would be look at their style, look at their photographs, look at their website, their Instagram, their Facebook page. Everybody has a different style. We can all be taught how to use a camera and what settings to use, but at the end of the day, a person's artistic style is unique. So just know that if you choose a photographer, and this happens a lot of people go price shopping. They choose one because that's the cheapest, or they choose one because that's around about what they think they want to spend. And when it's chosen based on money, you're not necessarily going to get what you pay for. So my advice is definitely book the photographer for their quality of work.
Yeah. Yeah, that's great advice. And I think that's, you know, because at the end of the day, your photos are so personal. And I can't remember who it was, but I was listening to someone who was a photographer, and they were saying that they took photos, all the photos that they took, they never had people looking directly at the camera, and that was their style.
Yeah, that's it.
And
Actually,
that's fascinating.
The other thing I want to add to that is get to know your photographer. Don't hide behind the emails or the text messages. Pick up the phone and ring them. Like to have that rapport with your photographer before the photo shoot, it can either make the experience absolutely amazing, or if you realise you get there and you're like, oh, they're not what I expected, or you just don't click, then the experience is not going to be pleasant. So, that's just another thing as well.
I like that, especially for big shoots where, you know, maybe a wedding or something.
Yep, definitely.
You need to have that rapport.
Absolutely. And you want to be relaxed, and that's what you're trying to capture as well.
Yeah, for sure. Especially when I go into a family session and I know there's, you know, the 4-year-old and the 6-year-old, or, you know, whatever, the first thing I do is say hi to mum and dad, and then I go straight to the kids. Like, I want to get down on their level and have a chat and go, oh, you know, what did you do today? And, you know, who's your favourite? Do you like Spider-Man? Do you like Tinkerbell? Like, whatever. You know, you try and, once you get those kids on board, and mum and dad are just like, oh my gosh, who's this person, you know? And it's funny, I've had some clients that, remember this one family in particular, they had 2 young boys, and by the end of them, he's holding my hand, the little one, and he's walking me along, and he looks at me and says, oh, do you want to come to my house for ice cream? And she's like, he doesn't do that to anybody. So, you know, so it's
sweet.
It's important because all that will come through the camera.
Yeah, definitely. So I know you take newborn photos of a range of different things, including newborns.
Yep.
Can you share with us some of the emotional reactions that clients have had when they first, because that's the best part, I bet, from your job. When they first see those shots.
I must say, I think one of the most memorable ones or couple is that it was a newborn session and it was their first baby, and, you know, they come for their viewing, and, you know, Dad's a big burly bloke. And as soon as the first image comes up, he just crumbles and he's a bundle of mess. And he's just like, tears. And, you know, that's when I know, I've got you at your heart level, you know. So, you know, and even other funny little things is, you know, when it's the 1-year-old and they make those funny, crazy, scrunched up faces when they're trying to smile, and, you know, they just laugh because, oh my gosh, that's her, that's what she does, even though it's not the most technically perfect image,
Yeah.
but that's what that child
love.
does.
That's their
So
memories.
that's their memories. So it's when they say to me, "Oh my gosh, you've captured her perfectly." That's the aim of the game.
Yeah. Yep, exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so good.
I used to say that when I did slideshows, when I've got people in tears, then I know I've done a good job.
Yes,
Yeah.
I know. I kind of go, yes,
Yeah.
I've got it. A bit of a ham.
Fist bump.
Fist bump. That's it. That's what I was trying to think. Yeah. So
A secret little one, an internal one.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've just my thing is not to start crying along with them.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, I'm a
I'm
sook,
such
I
the
would.
empath. Oh no, I'm such an empathic person that it's like, come on, Lauren, get a grip.
Oh
It's
my
not your
goodness.
baby.
I've done that so many times when I'm
Yeah.
organising people's photos and they've
Yeah.
found photos that they haven't seen and I'm right there with them.
Yeah.
That's what I love about photos. That's, it's the connection. It's really, it can be so powerful.
Yeah. I had a recent client actually that reached out, and this absolutely just got me from, like you got me at hello. He emailed me and he said, my grandfather's getting on. He's like 90 something, and I just want to have a photo shoot for him so I can give like his two daughters, which one was his mother and auntie, a photograph of him for Christmas. And it was just like, oh my gosh, you were like the best grandson ever.
Yes.
And, it was one of those photo shoots. It was out of the blue. It was organised fairly last minute, but it was just so special. And, for me to go through these images, it was like I was looking at my own grandfather in the end. It was just like, oh, look at this. He looks like, just that twinkle in his eye and this and that. So, it's very hard for me not to feel that like I'm sort of in it with them. And that's why I always say to people, we work together. We don't, it's not just I'm taking photos for you. We work together. So,
I'm actually also just realising from what you tell us that, going to professional photographer is not necessarily a once-off, especially if they start as babies. They could come back every year. You must have some clients like that, do you?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. So, and that's why I like doing some, say, smaller mini session, like a special offer that's, at just a good price, because I want people to update their photos and not and have like the big outlay. So like your wedding and your newborn session, it can be an investment of, $1,000 to $3,000, but this is where it's your baby will pass these images on to their child and then to their child. So those were the ones that you want to pass down. But, throughout the years, you still want to come back. So it's always great when they come back for baby number 2. And then it's even better when they come back when they're, sort of 3 and 5 or whatever. Yeah, so, it's good. It's good.
Yeah. So I was just thinking, as a professional photographer that you are, Lauren, you obviously have a lot of photos that need organising.
As we've said before, I need to come and see you.
Well, as our lovely listeners are also in the same boat, because they're here because they're wanting some help with their photos and organising photos and things like that. But from your point of view, just how do you face that sort of with your own sort of work and own personal photos and organising photos and things like that? What sort of tips would you have, or do you need more?
I don't think I can add anything new or riveting that you haven't told everybody else before, but I think for me, like in my own workflow with my client works, I just do a folder structure. So I will start with a folder that says client work, and then within that folder I'll have all my newborn photographs, then children, and then families, and then maternity, and then Christmas, and then whatever the category is. And then within those folders everything is date ordered. So again, the folder will start with 2019 012/01. So it's all in a dated order and it won't get mixed up in name order. So
Yes.
yeah, so I definitely keep everything in date order. Yeah, and then from within that, again, in my professional work, I will have folders separated from the raw file images to then their processed photographs to then their high resolution photographs to either a black and white copy or a copy made for online sharing. So again, it's all sort of separated out.
That would do away with our our duplicating, Chantal.
Yes.
You've got about 5 duplicates, obviously, that you need to, because they're different
I need
versions.
to duplicate, yes, because they're all different file types. So, but that's for my client work. But I think for my, my personal photographs, again, I tend to stick to a bit of a year by year sort of folder structure. But that's about as far as it goes, and that's why I need to come and see you.
We are having a podcast.
Yeah, you should do a podcast.
Yeah, there's lots.
I know. I need to go and refresh. Yeah,
No, that's good.
Yeah,
That's fabulous. Well, thank you so much, Lauren. That's
okay.
That's great. I think I really like the idea of just having some. I got some professional photos done, actually with you, at Christmas shoot, and it was just so lovely.
Yeah.
And I've never done that, and it was a really lovely experience.
Yeah, that's it.
It was fun, and we've got the photos up at home, and everyone enjoys them. They're really beautiful.
They are beautiful. I got to see them. And, and I
remember,
we sort of shy away from camera.
Yes, that's exactly what I was going to say.
Hindrance.
Yeah. I think I remember a few years ago, I put out a bit of I just wanted to get an idea of where people's views were on with hiring professional photographers. So I sent out a bit of a questionnaire, and some of the things that came back was, I think, a lot of blocks around the cost. I think people think it's really expensive for what you get, and there were some blocks around it's just not a priority. So but I think, and even I've had some clients where they've ended up with a gift voucher that's been, new baby on the way, and they've ended up with a voucher, and so they've come along with no expectations, and then they've walked away like, I'm so glad we did that, because we wouldn't have organised this ourselves. So sometimes it just takes that first experience. Or the kids are 5, 6, 8 years old and they've never had a family shoot before. So again, once you do it, you realise it's not that bad, and it's actually a bit of fun. And then it kind of can get a little bit, I can't wait till we do it again in a couple of years when the kids are bigger, or what have you. So it's always good when people can walk away knowing that they've enjoyed it, and that they just love what they're going to get at the end of the day.
Yeah. And I think too, so many people listening really have, they love their photos, and that's why they've found our podcast listening about their photos, and they're precious. And I think this is just, I'd really encourage people that are out there listening to just really consider having a professional photography shoot, and just adding that to their photo hub, and just really encourage them to just have a different dynamic to their photos. And they really are, they're precious, and there's so many creative things you can do. They're not just they don't have to just be a studio shot. There's a lot of great photographers, and I know, Lauren, you do a lot of outside shots too.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, one of my favourite times of the day is that late afternoon golden glow, as that golden hour. It's just beautiful. So it can be different. It doesn't have to be that traditional studio, very posed, very look at the camera. I think that's definitely, that trend's been and gone. Yeah.
But even so, though, in saying that, when we come through with organising photos, and we've done a podcast episode on genealogy, and those sort of older style posed photos they're precious then. Well, now when we look back on them, because that's all we have, and occasionally you'll see that one where they've caught a candid shot and they actually smile.
Yeah.
Because they weren't supposed to back then. That was the whole point.
Yeah.
It's funny how times change, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
But that also had to do with exposure time, doesn't it?
Yeah, is that right?
The very old ones. Yeah, that's why they're not
Those
smiling.
ones, yes.
Yeah.
Oh,
I
back
had to
in
stay
the
still.
old days, yes,
Yeah.
of course, you would have had to stay still. But not so much now.
No, exactly. But yes, we can still do. They're nice too, and and some of those sort of formal settings might be. Yeah, some people can have a look at those too. But I love the candid ones. I love those. Very relaxed candid shots, and they're wonderful.
So Lauren,
Yeah.
tell us where people can find you if they want to learn a bit more about you and your business and what you've got on
sure.
offer.
So my website is theeternalsecond.com.au, and you can also find me at facebook.com/The Eternal Second Photography, or The Eternal Second at Instagram.
Fabulous. And we'll put all those links in the show notes
Yep.
and details as well. So I think that wraps up for today. Thank you so much, Lauren.
Thank you for having me. It's been nice to have a chat.
Yeah, it's been great. And I know, Chantal, you've had a few professional shots, or else you've just got someone who's a great photographer in your family.
Yeah.
Have you had some professional shots yourself?
Do you mean the headshots?
Yeah,
I've
well,
done
the
recent
headshots were
headshots.
professional ones.
Yeah, they
they're
were
beautiful.
But otherwise, I actually just thought while Lauren was talking, we're one of these families who don't have professional shots. We did one when our second child was born. But yeah, that's like 13 years ago. And since then, I don't think we ever had professional family shots. So
Wow.
it really
That's a long
inspired
time.
me.
Oh, that's good.
It will be worth doing. Yeah.
Because even though it's like 13 years ago, how old are the kids now?
Oh well, the second one was a baby. It was actually baby shoots we've done.
Yeah.
I've done some pregnancy shots with the second one only, unfortunately. The first one has nothing, poor kid. And then after, when he was like 2 weeks old, we did baby shoot and the family shoot at the same time. But since then, it's never happened again.
Well, it's never too late to update.
That's right.
I know.
Never too late. Never too late. That's so
Because
true.
just think in another 5 years, you'll go,
I know.
you've
If
changed
I
so
had
much
done it
since
then.
5 years ago. So,
Yeah. And
Yeah,
as you
it's true.
say, they change so quickly.
Oh, sure do. Yeah.
Well, thanks, Lauren. It was really lovely chatting. We really appreciate you coming and chatting with us on the podcast. And
Thanks
it's
for
been
having me.
interesting. Yeah, it's really
Yeah.
lovely. So, as always, please check out all of our other social media channels. And if you would like to leave us a review or pop some feedback or questions for us, just email us directly or get in contact. And I'm Fiona from Photo Helper.
And I'm Chantal from Photos in Order. And thanks again for being here, and have fun with your photos.
Wonderful. Thanks again. Thanks, Lauren.
Thanks. Bye.
Okay,
Bye, Lauren.
bye.
See you.